The Med City is a place that becomes the last hope for some patients around the world.
And doctors tend to the medical needs, but we ask who's helping their spiritual needs, the patient's spiritual needs. And Chris Rapsky joins us with a special report tonight.
Yeah, guys, serious illness is more than just pressure on your body. It's
Absolutely.
Pressure on the soul. And when you look death in the face, life is never the same. And as you'll see, parts of this story are pretty rough, but it's a story that might help you find some answers of your own.
I don't think I can do any more of anything. My face is puffy and ugly. My eyes are bulging out. I've got hair on my face. I can't see my regular shape of who I used to be. I just want to find out. I just want to find the girl that I used to be, and I want her back. And I'm finding it hard just to suffer.
To suffer, especially in a place like Rochester, Minnesota, where miracles do happen.
And I'm afraid that it's going to go on and that it's not going to get better.
Cindy Finch was dying of cancer, a tumor in her chest the size of a brick.
What we're going to talk about tonight are desperate prayers.
That Cindy Finch is now healthy, happy, she's alive.
At some point, get one of these. Yeah.
Today, Cindy travels around the country, sharing her story of survival to other cancer patients, helping them confront the questions about death and grief, because she is an expert on both.
I had a kindergartner, a 4-year-old, and a newborn, and I had 4 weeks to live.
I feel like if this would qualify as being sick enough to die, feeling sick enough to die today.
And in 4 weeks, through what seemed to be certain death, Cindy was forced to escape the now and accept the future, asking every day what comes next.
As I went into the sewer of cancer treatments, that's the only way I can explain it. And here's the amazing thing, the thing that's remarkable and outstanding to me, is that God got in the sewer with me, and He walked me all the way through.
Through cancer treatment so potent that it burned her organs, causing her lungs to collapse, pushing her heart to failure.
It's like the curtains pulled back and you get to glimpse through this door into eternity, and you say, is this what's going to be true of me?
She says she felt the hands of God in the surgeons like a conductor to a symphony, removing the tumor, giving her back life.
Some of you need to do this with God. Tonight, this is your symbol.
It's been 8 years since the cancer, and Cindy's mission is to help guide those thousands of patients who are at war with cancer, in the trenches, together, fighting the slow physical and spiritual battles every day. She speaks to people like Linda, who still wipe down the counters of the Rochester Hope Lodge despite a serious brain tumor.
I know 2 things in life for sure. 1, there is a God, and 2, I'm not Him. So, you know, it'll be okay.
Means laying down your dreams and trusting in me. Would you do this for me? Would you do this for me?
Even after her experience, Cindy still has spiritual questions today. For answers, she turns to Teresa Carlson, whose own son complained of a sore leg one day in the 3rd grade. Turned out to be a life-threatening bone cancer.
Is God going to take my son? If He's going to heal my son, what form of healing is it going to be? That was the biggest difficulty I had in the first few months of the experience.
After 22 hospital visits and 17 blood transfusions, Teresa's son has now grown into a healthy young man. Teresa, a licensed minister, conducts support groups now for families of kids with cancer. She's seen the power and the destruction of the Spirit.
If they go in it with no faith, they're solidified in lack of faith. If they go in it with little faith, it can go either way. They can just turn their back, or they can decide, I need something greater than me. If they go in with great faith, I see them just get solid.
I don't even know why I am doing this videotape when I feel so awful, except that I think I need to capture it so that when I do feel like my normal self, that I can look back and that I could appreciate where God's brought us to.
And say, you got this, God, and whatever is going to become of me,
It's because you do it.
We said it was going to be a little bit rough, but Cindy taped herself at the pinnacle of her cancer saying those things, not knowing if she would survive or not. Now she shows that to people during her speeches, and it gives them perspective, but moreover, hope. And Cindy's story helps comfort those facing death, but I think it shows people how to live.
Absolutely.
And when we go through challenges, you know, we have that choice to grow, and clearly her story is that situation.
You got it. And tomorrow we're going to...
Cindy Finch joins us now, and Cindy is a social worker in Rochester and also a writer, and you are also a non-Hodgkin lymphoma survivor. Welcome, Cindy.
Thank you.
So tell us about your work with people who have cancer and your message to them.
Okay, well, I did have non-Hodgkin's lymphoma when I was 31.
Yeah.
So I kind of found myself in this position of going, wow, I'm really young, and I hear I have this aggressive form of lymphoma while I was pregnant. It rocked our world, and it changed so many things, and it kind of brought my mortality and where my family was going to go into so much question. So we made it through lymphoma. It was a very difficult time. It was an 8-inch wide tumor in my chest. And I thought, what's a girl like me doing in a story like this? But what I found out is that that story set a path for my life, and it set a tone for all that I would do from that point forward. I lived in Las Vegas, Nevada at the time, which is a big difference from Rochester. But 5 years after my diagnosis, I got the proverbial get-out-of-jail-free card by going into remission. I have 3 children and a husband. So I did a celebratory triathlon. Young lady, I'm
good for you.
Kicking cancer out of the way. And I developed congestive heart failure after that. And what had happened is the cancer treatments had given me massive internal organ damage, the chemotherapy and the radiation. So that brought me to Rochester and Mayo Clinic, where I had open heart and open lung surgery, which ended up saving my life. What I didn't know is 11 months after my initial cancer treatment, a new cancer drug would be developed that would have prevented all of those problems. The name of that treatment is Rituxan. And so one of the things that I'm passionate about is meeting cancer patients like myself and transplant patients right where they're at and telling them what I wanted to hear, which is there's hope. God has a plan in all of this. You can safely take his hand and walk with him. And it is what it is.
You know, when we were talking, you said this is the best, worst thing that can happen to you, and you really explain what that means.
The best, worst thing, when the big C comes into your life, everybody's so afraid of that. It seems to come in and take over, and it terrorizes our lives. But the other thing, this silver lining that can often be found, is that when a person goes through something like suffering or a really treacherous cancer, is that it begins to strip away the external things that really didn't matter about life, and it begins to reveal who they are, and it begins to step them in and take them into a new place they may never have gone before. It connects them to humanity, it connects them to eternity in one way or the other. When your life is brought to this screaming halt, you begin to think about spiritual things and about what's going to happen with life.
The bigger picture.
The bigger picture, definitely. And this huge life lesson comes out of it, that I'm not sufficient on my own. I need people to take care of me. I need someone to journey with me. And I need somebody bigger than me that can take me and walk this through that.
When I talk to you, there really is a message of hope, even in the middle of a storm. There's a silver lining, and that is your message.
I think so, and we actually, Jill Pearson and I, a musician, work with cancer patients at Hope Lodge, High Hope Lodge, and at Gift of Life Transplant House. And we do an evening of inspiration and encouragement, and we bring music, and we bring stories and poems, and even a message from the Bible that says, you can walk this, and family member that's walking with them, it's going to be okay. You've been assigned to this time in this place to walk your loved one through this. And we celebrate with them, even though some of them are dying. We celebrate and say, this is going to be okay. God's got it.
I think so many people who are watching this are going to really relate to that message, and so I just really thank you for sharing that with us. And also, we want to mention that Rochester Magazine this month is, tell us about the ladies on the cover here.
Oh, Rochester Women's Magazine I love what they're doing. It's a great project, but they actually allowed me to write an article this month called Pajama Soup.
Yeah.
And Pajama Soup talks about the ripple effect of cancer or terminal illness or trauma on a person's life and how it has an effect not on just them, but on the caretakers and on the family members and on the community that's watching.
Right.
So I just want to point that out and say that they're doing an awesome job.
And it's so timely, you know, during our Eagles Cancer Telethon to have, you know, this come out and to have these women's stories and the ripple effects, so this would be some very good reading as well.
I think so.
Well, thank you so much. I just really appreciate you being here with us, Cindy, and that you survived.
Thank you.
You survived. You survived everything that life dealt you, and you survived it with so much hope.
Thanks. I'm so honored to survive, and thank you for having me. It's fun. I love doing this.
Yeah, thank you, Cindy.
Okay.
Back now to our telethon.